Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Political Nerd. I have a super special guest tonight. I brought my wife in. I drug her in here because this is DeLynn Gaston, and you actually have been one of my longest shows up into the last 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah, you did the Moving Forward TV.
Yes, for long time. I don't even know how many years. 13, 14?
Long time.
I know.
Yep.
Many years. That's because I thought you were crazy when you said you should do a show about mortgages. And I said, who on earth would want to listen to me talk about mortgages? It is like so boring.
And for 13 years, it was not boring.
I know. I guess there's a lot that people like to try and learn.
Right. So, now one of the reasons I brought you back is because we are going to be starting a brand new show with you called A Focus on Real Estate, which was another show that we already had, but we're going to go more towards that realm. And but tell everybody home your credentials, and I'm just telling you right now, her credentials speak for themselves.
Thank you. Well, we had started, when we started talking about a focus on real estate, it was because we realized that, let me back up a little bit. So Moving Forward TV, your longest running show, started way back when, after the real estate crash of the mid-2000s, right. 2008, 2009, right. In there, when we, in the real estate and mortgage and banking and finance industry, realized, okay, this isn't a small little blip like we all thought it was at first, that this is something pretty big. And there was so much negative information going on, so much negative press, so much people were losing their houses, foreclosures, short sales. It was very sad. People losing jobs. As you said, I've been in the mortgage industry for coming up on 45 years, believe it or not, 45 years coming up on May 5th. I started in a bank in 1980. And
when you were 2.
Exactly. When I was 2. That's why I married him. He's a good liar.
I'm a TV guy. You should all know that by now.
But anyway, so people were losing their houses, and it was a very depressing
right.
time. So you came up with this idea to try and give some positivity out there, yeah. And just inform people about what's going on and what's happening. Like I said, I had been in this industry my entire life, and in one summer, I lost 7 jobs because every place that I went, 2 weeks later, they closed their doors. And went yep. someplace else, 2 weeks later, they closed their doors. And then the next company, and they closed their doors. There was this implosion meter that some people were running and checking online every single day with what bank went under today. So it was a very difficult time, and your idea was to put some positivity out there. So we called it Moving Forward because, okay, what happened. A lot of people banks made some really poor decisions. Well, I shouldn't blame just the banks. A lot of people made some poor decisions as well. And we had to try and figure out a way of coming out of this. So what do we do now? We have to move forward one step at a time, just put one foot in front of the other. And that's how we kind of Moving Forward TV was born.
Yep.
So
and it helped start our online TV station back then.
It did.
Yeah, it was your show, and I think I had 5 or 6 shows from Clear Channel, iHeart, same thing.
Right.
So we actually started the channel off
right.
of that.
Right.
And I'll tell you, yes, I am her biggest fan. I think. I hope I am
He
at
is.
least. Everywhere we go, I feel bad for people because I listen to everything that's said around me, and if they ever say the word mortgage or house, I immediately go, I got a person for you, but that's what I did. But through osmosis, see, we've been married now for 30 years, mm-hmm. and through osmosis, I could help you get a mortgage. We could pre-qualify you, right? And then I send you over to her. Of course, then again, I'm the mean guy because if you're going to tell me stories, I'm just going to come back at you and go, no, we're not going to do that.
Like they say, you know enough to make it dangerous.
Very, very dangerous. But we're going to bring back another show that we had going, a focus on real estate.
Mm-hmm.
And what we're trying to do is get it where we have a plethora of information. Yes, will you talk about mortgages? I hope so. And we're going to talk about the people that support the mortgages, and then we're going to bring in realtors, and then people that support the realtors.
And that's what we kind of came to realize with Moving Forward TV. Once the implosion was kind of over, which lasted a number of years, mind you, with, with short sales, foreclosures, and all that.
Right.
But once the country kind of started to gain their feet again and make some traction in a positive direction, it was no longer just about mortgages and which banks went out and, that kind of thing, and all of the changes in the industry. And there were lots of changes that needed to happen and did happen. So when we started doing, or when we were doing our mortgage show, we were telling them all the time all of the new guidelines and the changes and things like that. But it got to a point at some point where we were like, okay, well, now let's talk about how, when you do buy a house, what has to happen.
Right.
We have to have real estate people, obviously. We have to have home inspectors. We have to have insurance people. And, I like to say it takes a village. It takes a village. So we realized that focus on real estate should now encompass not just the mortgage world, but the real estate world and all of the people, the village, that have to come together in order to make it happen.
And if you want to know more about real estate, I've actually got next week's show. You got to stick around for it. You got to come back next week, because I have a realtor getting ready to come on with me, and we're going to talk about the real estate world and how he feels about it. So it's scary times. A lot of people are scared to death. It's all I ever hear. I can't buy them. I can't get this. This is what I'm hearing now. I can't even rent a house because they're running my credit and my finances as if I was buying a house.
Right.
And it's like, they're like, what do we do? And then it's when it's time to sit down with a professional like you.
Right. So it's funny you say that, because our son called me today, and he has a friend who is in the military, and he is getting transferred to Iowa and wants to buy a house in Iowa. And I said, of course, I'm not licensed in Iowa.
Who wants to go to Iowa?
But I know.
Wait a minute. I didn't know Iowa exists. I forgot about Iowa. Yeah.
So, but anyway, and I said, yes, have him call me. I'm happy to answer questions. Because there are so many changes, like it said, I've been doing this for 45 years, and quite frankly, I still double check things because it changes so frequently. And you say it's getting scary right now. Yes and no. It's COVID changed a lot of things in the world.
Right.
We were on a normal progression from, say, 2009, 2010, which is kind of the crash actually kind of started at the very end of 06. Nobody realized that. But 07, it kind of started a little bit more. But 08, 09 is really when the crash started happening. And as has been said by Grant Cardone, it was not a real estate problem or crisis. It was a banking crisis, and absolutely 100% I agree with that. It was a banking crisis, not a real estate. The real estate, unfortunately, took it on the chin, because that's where everyone's biggest asset is. So the people right now who are sitting there saying, well, I'm going to wait for rates to come down, or I'm going to wait for prices to come down, or there's going to be a big real estate crash, and which I don't agree with, that we're going to have to, we're going to be losing our houses. No, that is so not true. Some of the things that, that those people, I'm trying to explain to people, it's a cycle. I wish I brought my charts, because it's a cycle.
I don't have enough room on this set for your charts. Covered in paper.
Remember my big flip chart I used to do, and I would do my graphs and everything for people. So, but there are. It's cyclical. So if you go back to when I started in this industry in 1980, if you go back there, interest rates were 18%. 18? Yes, I did say double digit. 18% is what interest rates were.
People were happy with that.
they slept out. I don't know if you remember, they slept out at my door. They came out with a program where interest rates were 13.75%, but it was a first come, first served basis. I had people sleeping out at my door at midnight. I went down with a big pot of coffee and donuts for them because they were sleeping out to get 13.75%. And you know what? And rates have gone down since then, right? And then they go back up and then they come down. So it goes like that. And real estate works the exact same way, except real estate does not go down nearly as much does not fluctuate as much as interest rates do. So, you know, the saying over the last, couple of years here since after COVID, when things went crazy and people were paying $50,000 over asking price for people's houses because everybody wanted their own shelter in place, we started saying to the people who are saying, I'm going to wait for rates to come down, well, you're going to lose because home prices are going to continue to go up. The estimate this year for 2025 is 3 to 5%.
Right.
And even if you take it on the 3% side, that's still a good increase. Do I think it's going to crash? No, I don't. You want to know why? Because there's 33 million people that are turning 34 years old to 38 years old this year. No, I'm sorry, 60 million people that are turning that age, and that's your first-time home buyers. First-time home buyer age went up. It used to be 34 years old was a first-time home buyer average age. Now it's 38. So they're sticking around a little bit longer, and I think it's because of what's going on in the market with rates and prices of homes going up, and I think people are getting a little bit nervous. So, but where are they going to go?
Right.
Where are those first-time home buyers going to go? You know where they're going to go? They're going to go buy houses. So the people who are sitting there saying that, there's going to be a real estate crash, no, there isn't, because there's a whole bunch of buyers that have to go somewhere. They have to live somewhere. People
And
keep
mommy
having
and daddy are
people
tied up in the
can't
basement.
keep having
Get out.
babies. I know. It's funny, some of my friends said that they leave, they get out of the house, and then they multiply and come back.
What's up with that? I don't know.
Ruh-roh.
I love the way the Greeks do it. They buy a big plot of land,
I know, and it's
the
like
parents live on there, and then they
Yes.
build a house, and the parents move the little house, and the kids take over. Next thing you know, there's a massive
Yep,
compound.
I have a client looking to do something
That,
along
to
those
me,
lines.
is
I know.
absolutely
Your
the-
dad wanted to do that many years ago,
Yeah.
and you went, no.
And now I see why, and I'm like, yep, I would do it in a heartbeat.
So anyway, the saying these days, in the last couple of years anyway, has been, as far as the rates and the prices go, marry the house, date the rate, but by all means divorce your landlord.
Right.
Because your landlord is just going to keep on charging you money, and you're paying his mortgage and you're making him rich instead of investing in yourself. So if you marry the house, that locks in the price right now of what the house is, so you don't have to worry about having to pay higher if you
Right.
wait a year or two. But interest rates can always be refinanced. So if interest rates do go back down, whether they go down, you can always refinance. If they go up, you're here. So it's not going to affect you. In most cases, they're fixed interest rates, which means they're
but
not
you
going
got
to
these
change.
people out there. I'm going to show you a clip, and this is what scares everybody.
I know.
So I'm not saying I agree with him or I disagree with him, but you know what? I'm going to play it. There's a video from Grant Cardone. We're only going to play a little bit. It's longer. If you guys want it, I will put it in the link, and you guys can go watch the whole thing. But if you don't mind, okay, Jeff, let's roll that footage for me, please.
Storm is coming. Over $2.6 trillion of debt looming over the U.S. real estate market. And by the way, Warren Buffett is dumping stock as we speak. He's dumped most of his Bank of America stock. Should tell you that he knows something that you need to know. So what does Warren Buffett know about the marketplace, the stock market and the real estate market that you need to know? Look, guys, there is a real estate cataclysmic correction happening today. There's $2.7 trillion, and I'm going to share with you how you can take advantage of it and what you need to do about it. But when guys like Warren Buffett and Charlie Munger and Bill Ackman and people are starting to watch this marketplace and say something is going on in the marketplace that's problematic. For instance, we have more unrealized losses in banks today than we did in 2008, 9, and 10, which was a global economic crisis caused again by real estate, which was really a banking crisis, not a real estate crisis. Same thing's happening right now in 2024, 2025, and moving forward. $2.7 trillion. Just just understand how big this number is, will expire between now and the dates I just gave you. Today and the dates I just gave you, $2.7 trillion worth of debt is maturing, due right now. It needs to be paid off somewhere between now and the next somewhere 20 months from now, okay? That means a maturation or an expiration date on that debt is due. Now check this out. When this debt literally went into place, when it was originated, it was somewhere between 2 and 3%. Okay, stay with me here because I'm going to show you the magnitude of this problem is so enormous and will create such an opportunity for you and your family to actually invest in real estate. And I'm going to show you, based on this, what you should be offering to pay because of that, okay? This loan was done at 2 or 3% today. Let's say this loan matured today and now is due at 7% interest. So just imagine, I'm going to keep it simple. Let's say it was 3.5% interest on any amount, okay? Understand this is going to be thousands, tens of thousands of different loans on properties. It could be an office building, a hotel, it could be apartments like we buy at Cardone Capital.
Come on back.
It's not single family homes. I'm not talking about single family homes.
I understand what he's saying, and he's not talking primarily about residential. He's more of the business side of the big buildings, the duplexes, the triplexes, the quadplexes.
Right. And big commercial properties. He's saying that, the residential market is what it is, and with 70% of people, and that's probably about, pretty accurate, that are under 4% on an interest rate, that could very well be. But what he's kind of like sliding over, and that's why his whole thing is get into commercial real estate.
Right.
That's kind of what he's gearing people towards. Because, and that will happen, with businesses going down because of what's going on inflationary and such, with businesses going down, they're going to be having some problems and some issues. So he's saying that's the kind of real estate to get into because you can probably pick it up for much less,
right.
Which could very well be. I wouldn't doubt that anyway. On the residential side, though, what he's kind of not mentioning, yes, there's, however many percentage, 70%, whatever it might be, people out there with mortgages under 4% interest rates, yes, because everybody and their brother refinanced or bought a house, in the last few years and got those nice interest rates, but it doesn't mean they're going to keep them forever because guess what? Families grow.
Right.
So just like our other son,
right.
who was looking at a 4-bedroom house,
yeah.
I'm trying to get him to do it up here, but
yeah.
he got a little starter home, 2-bedroom, and now he's got a growing family, and
right.
They're going to have to move. The other thing that people are realizing is when the economy was low and everything, and then when it started to get bad, all of a sudden their credit card debt went up. So they're going to have to try and figure out, or what are we going to do? We might have to downsize, which is the other thing that's going on, is some downsizing for, people who, the empty nesters who've moved out and, credit cards are high. Let's minimize our debt, pay off some of this stuff, sell the house and buy something smaller. That's what I see going on. Is it hard to get rid of your 2 to 3 to 4% interest rate?
Yep.
Yes.
We were one of those.
Because we were one of those people
We
who
had
downsized.
a beautiful interest rate. We had a lot of, a lot of equity built in our house, whole 9 yards, and then somebody got a wild hair across his butt and go, "We're going to Georgia." Here we are. We're in Georgia.
Who that was?
I don't know, but he's killing me. Then the reality hit. We had to buy a house. We bought a house, and we're like, wow. But again, loved the house, married the house. We're dating the rate,
Right.
because when it comes down,
Yeah, because I'm one of those.
we're gonna. So let me ask you. So we're now in 2025. We have a brand new president. We have a whole bunch of good things. It looks like coming.
Trump 2.0.
Trump 2.0, and this time he's in full Trump mode. I think the first 4 years were training wheels, and he did an okay job. He didn't do great, right? But he did good. We all did well. We all did well.
I think he's putting his first 100 days into 17 days.
Right? It's amazing. So my question is, and I know you don't have a crystal ball, because if you did,
I would be sitting in Washington making,
Right.
He knows this line of mine.
go ahead, tell him. Go ahead, tell him.
People ask me all the time, what do you think the interest rates are going to do? And I say, if I knew that, I would be sitting in Washington with my crystal ball making a heck of a lot more money
Right.
than I am right here.
But I guess it depends on which side you are on. whether you're on the right side, who's super optimistic, and then you got the left who are still hating Trump and they're wanting to move out and blah, blah, blah. Well, there's some
No.
vacancies. Do you think that's going to be better for the economy and the way the housing market can run?
What, people moving out?
Well, if they're leaving, there's vacancies. I'm just, Mr. Dixon's going to be a happy man.
You know what? No matter what happens, no matter who's in office, you're going to have people who are happy and you're going to have people who are not happy.
Right.
It doesn't make a difference. Like I said, you can go back and look at the charts from 1980. Well, that's when I kind of started looking at the charts. So back from when I started, when I was 2, in 1980, and you know what? It's up and down, up and down, up and down. So jump in, and when are you going to jump in? Just jump in. Just jump in. You can't win if you don't play. Isn't that what they say
Right.
about Lotto? So jump in, buy a house, make some money, sell the house, make some money on it, and buy another house. You have to live someplace, but why are you going to make a landlord rich?
Right.
Unless you're the landlord.
So I heard another mortgage person, because I listen to a lot of TV.
You cheating on me?
No, I produce for another company as well as my own, and they had a mortgage person on, and this is what he said. He goes, the mortgage industry, the rates and stuff, it loves chaos. It thrives on chaos. Now, maybe not as much of the real estate side, but the mortgage side, for some reason, the more chaos, the better. Is that true?
I think what he meant
Are you
by that...
is the mortgage side party animals? Is that what it is?
Well, some of them are, but I think what his point was what he meant was and you've heard me say this a million times too, we almost have to pray for bad news.
Yes,
because
I've
the
heard
worst,
people-
yeah, you've heard me say that.
Yes.
It seems like when something bad happens, oh my gosh, more people are unemployed than were before. When the
COVID.
employment,
we couldn't keep enough houses in place. Mortgage was running
so
low.
bad things happen, and that's a positive for the mortgage rates, because what they try and do is to stimulate because keep in mind, when that happens, all businesses suffer, right?
Yes.
Nobody's buying cars anymore either, which is kind of what we've been watching over the last year.
Right.
Falter, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And that's why the Chairman Powell said that he was going to reduce rates 4 times this year: September, October, November, December. And that's when the market started, saying, okay, they finally realized, but he was waiting for that all powerful inflationary number to get to a certain point before he started doing that. And then what happened is they said, oh, maybe we jumped too fast. No, you didn't, because look what happened. I know. So and all industries, the grocery industry gets hurt, the gas industry, the truckers, everybody gets hurt when those kinds of things happen. So
when
it's
I
not
can't
just
buy my kid that G.I. Joe with Kung Fu grip, I'm upset. I'm just saying. I remember it from a movie that was the funny one, that Trading Places and Eddie Murphy's. Hold off on selling the pork.
I know.
Hold off selling the pork, because you know what? That guy wants that G.I. Joe with Kung Fu
Love
grip.
that movie.
So it taught me a lot, actually. It's kind of funny. But anyway, yeah, it's almost like, and it's almost like they took a 20-ton boulder, started pushing it down the hill, and as soon as it started going, then when they changed their mind.
I know.
It's a little late,
I know.
isn't it?
Yeah. So that's the chaos, I think, that person was talking about.
Okay.
So, back to your original question of, what do we think is going to happen? And, is this going to be a real estate crash and all of that? My answer is no. I would like to say that we're too smart as a country to let that happen again.
Yeah, well, we had Biden
I'm not
for
so
4
sure
years.
some days.
Some of that may have rubbed off.
No, and like I sort of say, so, it doesn't make a difference who's in office. There's going to be, people happy and people unhappy. I do hope that there's enough people, though, that we're smart as a country,
Right.
that we're not going to let some of these things happen. And after the real estate crash of the mid-2000s there have been a lot of things that have been put in place to protect the country and consumers from things like that happening again. So,
Right.
no, I don't think that's going to happen again. There's some really good movies, speaking of movies, besides Trading Places, really good movies out there that kind of depict everything that happened during those years that are really good. One of them is called The Big Short, if people want to watch it. It's called The Big Short. It's a great movie about the whole real estate crash of the mid-2000s. And the second one that I love even more, actually, is called Margin Call. And that tells you in the financial world, our bankers will appreciate that one, in the financial world, what was going on and why the banks had to do what they did at that time. There were no choices. So, two great movies.
Hopefully, we won't ever get back to that.
I would hope we're smarter as a nation.
Right. Of course, we could always use another lockdown. Hey, buy them houses.
I know.
And I'm just kidding. No,
Everybody loved
President
COVID.
Trump. Don't do that to us again. Please don't do that to us again.
Like
Oh,
it
my
was
God.
him.
So I know we've had your name up there, and throughout and in the description of the show down, I'm going to put all your contact information.
Thank you.
And you're able to write mortgages in 3 states.
Florida, Georgia, and Tennessee right now.
Is Alabama coming soon?
Alabama is coming soon.
Coming soon, Alabama.
It's that time difference that I have to in my head.
Oh yeah, it's like, well, we live what 15 minutes?
15 minutes from
15
the
minutes
line.
from the line, and it's like, oh, it's another time zone.
And it because your phone clock changes, but your car clock doesn't change.
Car's not smart.
The whole thing throws me off. I know. I got to get used to that a little bit, and then I get.
So
and then I
we
get
will put
Alabama.
we'll put the information on there, and her show should be coming back shortly. I'm probably mid-February, I think, is what we're slating it for, if at all possible. I know I'm sitting here like a normal human being, but believe it or not, my arm is supposed to be in a sling, and I'm not supposed to be using it because I have shoulder surgery. But anyway, that's enough about me, more about her. You can always find her at the mortgage firm Trinity.
Right.
So Close My Loan?
No, yes, it is. The website is closemyloantrinity.com, or email me, DeLynn.Gaston at tmf.mortgage. There's no .com, no .net. It's just .mortgage.
Yep.
And I know he's going to have that up there. And I'm always available to answer questions.
Awesome. Well, that being said, everybody, Wayne, thank you for watching The Political Nerd. I know we didn't get super political tonight.